Oh, I like the bar. Everything's got to download.
There we go. So I'm going to turn on mute and turn off the camera right now.
Were you going to do the intro?
In the backstage.
Were you still going to do an intro, Evan?
That's right. I was. Yeah.
No worries.
They gave us this nice little checklist, and so I'm like, okay, knocked it all off, good to go, and I just forgot to go back to that one.
Attendee list is growing.
Yeah.
Evan, did you just wait and see, make sure everybody's in before you start your intro?
Yeah, actually, if they join and then they leave, it won't take their name off. But thank you, everyone, for being here. And we're still adding people, so we'll give it a little bit longer and get started a little bit after 2 or 3 minutes after 11, just to let everyone come in and stick around for intros and everything.
$20 people, yay.
All right, so we're going to get started. Everyone's joining in, and so thank you all for being here. My name is Evan Saperstein. I am the moderator, and so I just wanted to introduce our presentation and our presenters. I won't give too much of an intro for them because they have, or they're going to talk about themselves, introduce themselves in a lot of detail. But if you have any questions, please throw it into the chat box, and they'll be able to respond to those. And then stick around at the end. There will be a link placed in there as well to evaluate the presentation. And so please make sure to give them a great evaluation. And to kick it off, we have Andrew and Joel, and I'll let them introduce themselves and get started.
Well, kind of like the chat room's been filling up with, happy Friday. Joel and I are big believers in Friday. My name's Andy Homan. Joel Ramirez will be co-presenting with me, and this is internal marketing service. Basically, it's going to be an overview of selling your services, reaching out to your potential customers, and then also mechanically, how do we do projects for our customers? How we do it, I'd like to present it as a way, not the only way or the best way, because there's so many ways to do this. And kind of just basically how our team works, who our team is, how we overcome some obstacles, and how we've sold our product or our service, I think, effectively. And that's kind of the quick overview. I really like questions, so I'm not one of these people, hey, wait till the end of this segment. If you have a question, Joel's probably going to be monitoring the chat so he can go, hey, Andy, stop and answer this question. I love doing question and answers. It helps fill some time and get people comfortable. So a little bit about ourselves. Go ahead and the next slide there, Joel. Oh, you missed our famous intro. There we are. So I'm the guy in the back standing up, and I'm a section manager for marketing communications for Texas Tech University Student Housing. I've been in this position almost 2 years, and I've been with Tech just a little over 4. And I'll let Joel introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joel Ramirez. I am a senior graphic designer for the marketing and communications team within University Student Housing. I've been here about almost 3 years now. This is actually my first job right out of college, so I kind of got thrown into the deep end, and we're all thriving.
Yes,
Anyway.
So yeah, Joel is took this on, and I tasked him with the graphics because that's what he does for a living, and it would be a train wreck if I did it. So anyway, that's just a little bit about us, and some of that will come into the background later. This is, and I like to call them my team because I'm so proud of them. Literally everybody in this picture is on our team. The lower left-hand corner, she needs no introduction at the university. That is Janice Wooten, or Dr. Wooten. This was a funny Christmas card we did. I really like that picture because she is a cat fanatic. And then upper is Connie. She is my assistant and does a lot of our selling of ads. Then we have Michaela, student assistant. We have Camden, one of our lead student assistants, Ryan Allman, who's a talented videographer, Kayla Barnhart, who's the head of all the students. I'm the lower right. That is a kind of a frowny, mean picture. That's me on a mission in Afghanistan. It's just kind of a cool picture with the thumbs up. And then Joel doing his Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson imitation. And then we also have Kate, another talented videographer. And then next to Kate is Gahe Lee, who's been with us, gosh, what, almost 2 years now, a year and a half?
Year and a half-ish.
Yeah, she originally came from South Korea. She's a Texas Tech alumni and just a very talented graphic artist herself. So that's a little bit about us. So we kind of want to give you a background of who our customers are and who we had to reach out to, because that will, I think, help explain how it's obstacles we had to overcome, the enormity, I think, of who we work for and what we do. So I kind of wanted to go through our customers. This is one sliver. This picture is one sliver of our customers. That is facilities. So that's just one group of people that our services are offered to. This was for a move-in photo. I believe one of us took that picture. Included in facilities is also housekeeping. We have an amazing army of housekeepers that do a spectacular job keeping all our facilities clean. Next one, obviously, y'all probably are all from this, Res Life, our biggest probably and most diverse group of people to do projects for and market for and communicate for. I find from my background probably the most interesting because it's all different walks of life, and I just, every day is different. So Res Life, the biggie right there. Warehouse, we do things for the warehouse, for the facility side of it. Whether it be labels for QR codes for their inventories for their warehouse, anything they need. Signage, if I'm going too fast, please slow me. I'm reading some of the comments, they make me happy. Thank you. Welcome Center, another very much a partner of ours. We help them with all the important dates for move-in, any updates in housing situations. A lot of it had to do with COVID. We'll get into that later. Right around the corner, my counterpart, Amanda is her name. I'm in her office. She's in mine often. Very much a team, helping her get her message out for her folks. IT, we do actually work for IT. I like to think they save us once in a while because of their immense skills with computers. But we actually will do marketing and communication stuff for them as well. Administrative and business services, that's the group we're part of. This is headed by the Associate Managing Director, Ashley Stiles, my direct supervisor. It encompasses HR, personnel, business, marketing, IT. We do a lot of we do all of the communications and marketing for them. Another biggie, student organizations. I'm sure you all have very similar ones to us, if not the same. This is a group that we've really had to reach out to because a lot of them didn't know we were there just for them or to help them. A biggie. Auxiliaries, we have great partnerships with other marketing departments throughout the university. Hospitality is kind of our sister in the building. They're right next door to us. I work closely with them on a lot of different things. Athletics, we do partner with them occasionally when we need to get attendance up or have special events coming. Rec center, sub, these are all probably very similar to what everybody else in the audience here is dealing with. Everyone is as important as the next. And certain times of year, some have more need for us than others. It's just an ongoing, around the calendar kind of thing. Joel, did you have anything you wanted to add on that last? I'm sorry, I babbled a little bit there.
No, I mean, like, I think you pretty much hit everything on the head. We kind of work with a lot of different people doing a lot of different things, and that's kind of like what we're going to segue into next, like kind of what all exactly we can do for people that we offer within our department.
That was kind of to tell you about who we are there for. It kind of shows the variety of types of things we do and we offer, and never makes for a dull moment. What do we offer? Well, graphic design. I mean, Joel, Janice, Kahe, they're talented and very educated in this. So everything from that design you're looking at right now to designs for the student organizations, anything graphic arts, it's us. We do it. Video. This is something that has grown exponentially, and probably many of you can attest to this because of COVID in the year 2020. Lots of things became virtual. Lots of videos were produced, how-tos, everything. Video became an enormous thing for us. We're very fortunate that we have talented videographers. The problem we have is they're students, and students tend to graduate from college and move on, despite me begging them to stay for grad school. It unfortunately is an issue. I miss every one of them. Of course, you want them to go on and be successful and happy and all that, and they are. But it is a weakness that we're working through right now, trying to maybe perhaps get a full-time videographer where students would augment that capability. That is Kate at I think it was a football game. She helps with athletics too. So funny story about Kate. She likes to find me in the audience and put me on the Jumbotron, usually at an embarrassing moment. Just a little side note there. Photography, all the still photography, whether it be of buildings, headshots for our website to show, these are our employees in our staff directory. Facilities likes to display photos of their employees. We will do all that for them. Again, very talented people working for us in that. Content consultation. So people are really good with coming up with ideas, and some of them are really good. When they come to us with their idea, we like to sit down, whether it be an artist, myself, and discuss what's their goal, what are they trying to get out of it, and the guidelines they may have to follow depending on what they're wanting. I like to personally, and I think so does my team, sit down face to face. Obviously, COVID has had some issues with that, but prior to 2020, it was I liked people to sit down. I invited people in my office all the time, or I went to them, and then I would often bring artists in for their expertise to get their opinions and the best way to do it. And I personally think it helped kind of rest people assured, like we can handle this, we can get what you need, time frames, all that. So hopefully we'll be back to face soon. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hoping. Joel, I'll let you talk on this one. This is your baby.
This is my baby. I am the lead web designer within our department. A lot of what like the web needs that come in are really like dates and stuff, that important dates like sign up dates, events that happen. On top of that, like this is kind of where we collab with our IT team. They do forms like that assist students in signing up for housing and all the various things they have to do, and so they'll like create the form. I'll get it uploaded on the website wherever it needs to go, and then on top of all that, like we'll still do stuff with other student organizations, like our like our Res Life. We have a whole thing of their events and just kind of help them advertise what they need on the web. On top of like other venues like the print media, we do graphic design posters for them or something, or we can put it on social media for them. Let's see. And then also, like, this is kind of, I guess, pretty irrelevant, but we're also kind of doing like a website, like condensed, like redesign of sorts. Like, we noticed that there's a lot of repetitive information within our like web database, I guess, if you want to call it that. And so we're all just trying to come together and condense everything into one like uniform location for everything. If you need to find something, it's here only, here and only here on, whatever page it may be. Let's see, we'll just go to the next slide now.
I do a lot of reading. We all do a lot of reading. As you well know, the last thing you want is something you've worked a campaign you've been on, and then you have a missing period, a comma, or incorrect comma, or something misspelled, heaven forbid. We've all been there. This was something a lot of other areas didn't realize, I think, that we would do for them. I always proofread somebody else's information better than my own. That's pure fact. So we definitely offer that. With Ashley Stiles coming in and being involved and being our leader, she's big on that, and we definitely see eye to eye on proofreading. She hands stuff to me all the time, and vice versa. And we pull in people outside. One of my students, Michaela, is a journalism major and really good at it. She certainly writes well. I utilize her for that. This was stuff that, like, for example, like facilities did not realize, heck, we'll give us the information. We'll even write it for you if you want, or proofread what you have. And this was just something I had to go word of mouth and explain. We'll do it. Give it to me. One of us will take care of it. Everyone thinks, oh, you work in academia, everything's going to be perfect. Not true. We all know that. I make mistakes all the time. So this was something that I think a lot of people didn't realize we'd do for them is edit and proofread. That has changed dramatically, I think, especially with Ashley coming on board. Dr. Wooten, Janice Wooten, is our email junkie. She loves Mailchimp. We do a lot of Mailchimp. There's two ways we do things. We'll do it through Mercury, which is more business oriented to students living on campus. Hey, you have to be moved out by this time, whatever the example may be. But we also do a lot of marketing through Mailchimp, and she'll take the content from our customer, design a graphic to go with it, and make it look really nice and send it out. This is something we've, again, been doing a lot more of since COVID hit. A lot of people didn't realize we would do that for them. Again, word of mouth and some other things I'll talk about later have helped increase this. I don't know if it's exponential, but it's significantly more than when I started.
We just got a good question, Andy. Do you use any programs or software to help with our proofreading?
Great question. And yes, I like Grammarly Pro, I think it is. And Grammarly is probably my favorite. I like to read it on my own and all that. I am not an English major. It was not my thing. In my previous career, I wrote a lot and I proofread a lot of things. So I had that experience, but I really like Grammarly. And I was kind of somewhat shocked that peer group around did not use it as much. I sign people up that are outside of my department. It's like, hey, I've got 50 slots for Grammarly. Go ahead and use it. So that's the program we use. I'm sure there's others out there, but that's kind of our favorite.
Oh, here's one more good one.
Sure.
Do you feel that your marketing concepts have evolved due to the pandemic?
Okay, say that again. Do I feel that the marketing concepts have evolved? Yes. The pandemic has changed a lot of things. A university is a large organization, and it has a lot of money to run it, and so liability comes into effect. And what I've seen a lot is any communications out there when it came to the pandemic had to do with liabilities for safety first, obviously, liabilities and letting everyone know what the policy is for the university, the department in our area. So, where you would not have to worry about a deadly pandemic, then it would have been more fun and maybe more visual. Now it was more, warning business kind of thing. So it changed a lot of it. Plus there was a lot more things, nobody ever thought we'd have, you can't come in this building unless you're wearing a mask. Who'd have thought that 2 years ago, So yeah, it definitely changed. That's a really good question. And also with, how many people we can put in a residence hall, that dramatically changed. And again, my colleague John and Amanda, they could attest to that. That's been, their obstacle to overcome. Social media. I'm old, so I used to only know Facebook because old people, I'm 53 years old and proud of that. Facebook was all I knew until, then I was introduced to Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Now, I've recently really don't do anything on Facebook. It's just Instagram. I have to monitor them. Kayla, who I introduced you to, is in charge of all that. And what we have found is in social media, generally it's in conjunction with another part of the campaign, whether it be printed media, website updates, something. So very, very important. That was another thing, reaching out. We would post things on social media for student groups, all that. Student groups are very much in tune with this, so it wasn't like they needed to be educated. This is what we could do. They knew it, and we've learned a lot from the student groups. Some of the other areas, facilities, they may not have known. So now we're getting to where we're posting updates from facilities regarding a building issue or whatever. We'll go on social media. Again, the pandemic, I don't know how many social media posts about the pandemic. It was just a constant. And I think that's about all I have on social media. Again, this is kind of how this falls into what we do and how we do things. I just kind of wanted to go quickly over some major campaigns we do to show how large they are and the amount of manpower and how we manage them. This is my favorite one, literally. The Carol of Lights. It's a student organization, puts it on, they decorate the campus. I can't remember, it's tens of thousands of holiday lights. A big event. It literally starts, as soon as it ends, it starts again with the contest. Students design the poster. This involves everybody on the staff. On my staff, poster design after the students decide how they want it, and there's a winner. Social media updates, website updates. When there's not COVID, there's a formal dinner that we have to do printed materials for. I'm guessing probably one of the most labor intensive next to move in. However, it's my favorite, so I enjoy doing every bit of it. It's a year-round thing. It might only be for the holidays, but it takes us a whole year to do the whole process. It seems like as soon as we're done, then we start up again. MLK, another big one, another very important one. We do all the printed materials. This is a big campaign. We get great direction. This is the person who runs the last two I've been talking about, very much in tune with how we do our business and very much an asset. She submits all the requests, and I'll get into how we do that in our project management and my suggestions on what I think people should be using. And this is something that doesn't go year round, but it has a peak to it, and we build up and then a peak to it. We do everything on this as far as I remember. She may do some other stuff outside our housing area. A big campaign and a very important one. Joel can talk a little bit about this since he's right in the middle of it.
Yeah, so this is happening right now. We're in the middle of getting all the stuff ready for it. Professing excellence is something where students just nominate their professors who they think are doing an amazing job, and then they'll go on from there, and a select few will get selected to, win the award. A lot of things that go into this, we started in the mid to late fall, just to advertise that the nominations were open to start nominating a professor. So we would do posters for that, website updates, social media posts, and then we'll do another round of that at the beginning of winter, probably early January or so. And then coming now, we're normally we will do a big ceremony kind of thing where we'll have a big speaker, PowerPoint kind of thing, a big banquet kind of deal. And we'll have photography there, do a video, make a program for it, and then you know, at the end of the day, it all kind of turns into like a big YouTube video and like a big like production.
And this was something where we had to completely change because there was a ceremony in person. And also the same with Carol of Lights. We kind of, our folks that wanted this done had to reach out to us, and we had to come up with options. Well, virtual. Carol of Lights had to become virtual, a link to where it was filmed, and then you could watch it from home or wherever. Because I think about 20,000 people attend the Carol of Lights. It's an enormous thing. MLK March, MLK March. That's a unity thing, and you should be shoulder to shoulder with people, and can't do that with COVID. So that was something that the people who put that on had to adapt to. And then we also had to adjust our marketing and our information out there to that. Same with professing excellence. So kind of things we had to reach out and tell people. It's like, well, instead of this, we could do a video. We could do a YouTube link to a video with information. It was adapting on the fly. There was no manual. And if you all had a manual, I wish you'd have shared it with me, but we had to kind of make it up as we go along. What can we do to make this the best? Because these are super important events, and they're really important to the associate director or assistant directors that put it on. And kind of my job is to make them happy, and I like making people happy. So it was an adaptation that's fine. I'm not saying we did it perfectly, because we learned a lot, but it was something we had to adapt to. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. Another good one. This one took a hit as well with COVID, because a lot of it had to do with being there, being in an actual place. And this is an event that has evolved since I remember when I came to tech. The name has changed a little bit. Very, very important. Again, one of our larger ones and super important one. This has physical things involved because there's an actual tunnel. And then we have to advertise and get the word out to attend these things to people. Again, the person who puts this on is very well aware of this might not be the best example for how we had to reach out and how we sold our service, because this person might as well be on our staff because she's so in tune with it. But a very important event that had to be altered. So building our brand. The biggest obstacle when I took over was people didn't even realize they could use us. There were a good core group that did, but there were people like, "Oh, you can do that? You have that capability?" And I was like, "Yeah, we didn't need the business. We're busy, but that's why we're here." Think people like in facilities not realizing, hey, if you need a PowerPoint done, we will do a PowerPoint for you. If you need an org chart done. Joel did one the other day in about 5 seconds for somebody who doesn't do that kind of stuff all the time. It was easy for Joel. It saved that person immense amount of time, allowed them to be back to their regular duties. So people just didn't realize how much stuff we can do. And some of the student organizations didn't think we were there for them. That really kind of broke my heart. It's like, no, this is why we're here. One of our big functions in this is the knowledge that Janice, Gahe, and Joel specifically have on what we can and can't do. That kind of segues into educating all our customers, I like to call them, what we can do with our trademarks and logos. There's guidelines. I'm sure most universities probably have this. What fonts can you use? Color combinations can you use? Joel talked about the website. You can't just make the website how we like it because it's prettier. We have to follow these rules. That is on us to make sure we know these rules, and we've been to the training and also deal directly with the university's main marketing people. So we have what we've had to do is a lot of times during our collaboration, educate our clients. It's like, well, you can't do that we're Texas Tech, so the big logo for us is the double T. People want to use it in writing. They want to make coloring books out of it. There's only so much you can do with it, and that trademark belongs not to housing, but to somebody else on campus. So we have to follow strict guidelines. Part of the service we offer is making sure when they come up with this concept that we're not violating the university's guidelines and trademarks. It's on us, and this is something I've had to learn, luckily from my staff who's super smart about it, what we can and can't do. And it's very, very important, and I'm sure everybody in their respective universities probably has a similar guideline. just different trademarks, obviously. That was a biggie, especially with student organizations. You know, their idea might be really cool and look great, but we're going to probably have it axed by president's office. So that is something we've had to get out and just by talking to and word of mouth, tell them what they can and can't do. We are here to help. I think so. There might be some people arguing about that, but I think so. We all have very open door policies. We want people to, obviously pre-COVID, come in. I like my door open all the time. I like talking to people. That is the way I wanted business done in my department. Very customer service oriented. Our whole housing area is based on the Disney theory or philosophy. Disney is a great customer service philosophy amongst others out there. They're all basically the same, which is good. That's kind of how our attitudes are. Go ahead, Joel. How clients reach us? Well, not the U.S. Postal Service. I can guarantee you that. One of the things we did is at the recommendation of my supervisor was, hey, why don't you guys make a flyer, set it out there so these people know they can use you. Great, because I like to go all over the campus and talk to all these people, but I can't be everywhere all the time. So one of the things we did is the team designed this digital flyer and printed, we did both, and sent it all out. And it just outlined who we are, what we can do specifically, and how they can reach us and get a hold of us and submit a request for whatever. It may be just a simple sign. They may want a video. So that was really actually pretty effective. And we did a similar thing for our IT folks. People didn't realize what they could call IT for. Did a very similar campaign for them. I think it worked well. I don't have the analytics to tell you, oh yeah, we had a 20% increase. It just worked well. Obviously, we got more customers out of it. My favorite, I'm a very social person. I will go meet other managers and other directors and whatnot and just talk and let them know. I like to make people feel welcome, and that I don't like to see or hear that I didn't want to bother you. Well, no, I have a job because you can bother me. So I do a lot of this. Dr. Wooten would say, this is why you're hired, Andy, to go out and talk to these people. So, and I enjoy that part of it. Yay. Aren't we all tired of these? I know I am. We now are doing a lot of virtual meetings and consultations just because of the pandemic. Texas, I guess, is opening up, so this might change probably slowly, but we still did it. We just, we meet with our customers and go, okay, we'll Zoom and we'll discuss it. Yep, not my favorite, but it happened. This is the biggie, and this is kind of one of the main topics I wanted to cover, and this is our way of doing project management. It's a way. It works really well for us, and the system we use is, next page, is it on the next one, Joel? Is Reich. I'm not getting paid by Reich. I don't have stock in the company. I don't even know anybody that works there. I just pay my subscription, and it works really well. It's a centralized project management software. Yeah, here you can read this yourself. We get real-time updates. The Reader's Digest version of this is a centralized place to put information and data that can be reviewed, edited, tweaked, and then communication can happen. And it does it in a time-stamped manner. So if Joel is required to design a poster and there's a deadline submitted by the customer, and he designs the poster and he sets it up for approval by me, and usually it goes through a system by me, and then obviously the customer has to approve it, and the person says, why is my poster not done? And it's like, well, because we've been waiting to see if you want this particular poster. So it shows that, when certain updates have been done, and keeps us within the deadlines that is submitted by the actual person who submits the task. It works, it's email based. You submit a task through the software, comes to me, I write the whole thing up with the information given to me, and then I assign it to whoever I feel is necessary. If it's some specific Joel might need, I would do it for Joel. Videography would go to somebody else. And then it allows direct communication between the person creating, the person wanting what's created, and then me as a supervisor to make sure we're on time and on task. And it timestamps everything. And it's an efficient way of keeping us on task and on target. And then it puts some accountability on the customer to actually to be involved with, you know, the approval and changes. And that way they can't say they never, you know, they never changed or we never did the edits or whatever. We can prove that we have. And I'm not trying to make this adversarial, but it just keeps everything in order. This is kind of what a dashboard, this is not what my dashboard looks like, but it basically shows how the information gets put on there. I'll have a task assigned to me. I'll click on it. I'll know what I need to do. Oh, I need to approve this. Again, I'm not trying to sell Wrike. That's not my thing. There are others out there. I don't recall some of the names. There's some free examples that work in a similar system. I think this is a system like Wrike or similar is super important. It just keeps everything consistent and the same and has accountability for both sides. If we forget something, it shows that we forgot something. Yeah, here we go. File sharing, easy for the client to download something and upload for that matter. Transparency. Oh, Joel hasn't even looked at that. It's obvious because there's no update. It would be an example. I don't usually say that, but that's, and like I said, a centralized database. The nice thing is too, if the person who's running MLK goes, what were our posters like last year? I can go back in, retrieve it, and go, here's what it was, or give him or her access to do that. And so it keeps our files all centralized rather than spread out all over unit shared drives and all that good stuff. I'm not a big IT person, so it really works good for me. It's very simple, very user friendly. And then again, client access. The client can have access to whatever whatever their project may be. I don't give everybody access to everybody's project. That would be chaos. But it does allow the client to go in if they wake up in the middle of the night and go, I don't know if I approve that, and they can log on and go, oh yeah, I did, and go on. 24/7 access to their project. They don't have to wait for us to be at work. So real quick overview of how this comes in. Again, like I said, it comes in through a request through Wrike. Sometimes people who are new will say, hey, I don't even have access to Wrike. I invite them to become part of the system through an email, and they become part of it, and then they write the project. It comes in. I assign it to whoever it's relevant to, and then may invite the person to come give us a consultation. I'm a firm believer not everything can be said on an email or a message on Wrike. Come talk to us. And then we might explain some issues, some problems, or how easy this is going to be because they're concerned. Again, hopefully getting back to this after COVID, where we can have some face-to-face stuff, or even just a phone call. Then the production began. So based on the idea, the creative process, our designers are going to come up with something, maybe 3 or 4 different options, depending on what it may be. And then let the person review it and say, I like this one best. Can we change this? And that is all done through Wrike, where editing tools can go in and circle something and say, make this bigger or smaller or whatever. Then it goes through a review. And generally, Dr. Wooten does the initial design review because she is savvy on everything in that area. Then I will review it and okay it or not okay it. And then it goes up above me just for final. And then it can be put out to the public. Another thing that the Wrike program is good about is when we get quotes from vendors, we can attach it in there. That's another really good positive because I don't have to tell them on the phone or write them an email. It's like, oh, here's the quote. It's $1,500. Is it within your project budget? Works out really well. We'll do write a purchase order. Joel generally does this. Writes the purchase order from whatever account or whatever budget it's coming from. It gets done if it's an outside vendor doing it, or if we print it in-house, and then in Wrike, and then a lot of times I'll call too and say, hey, all your posters are done, or your social media campaign went out as scheduled, and hopefully we're shooting for this, number 9, satisfied customer, and hopefully it went without a hitch. Generally, when it's done, I don't hear back, and that's fine. That means they're happy. Sometimes I'll call and check, especially the bigger ones, or we'll have a follow-up meeting. That's kind of the mechanics of our system. I could spend a whole day giving you details. I'm certainly not gonna do that to y'all. Anyway, yes, does everybody hate this slide? I know I do. Changed everything. Working from home was a problem. It was hard for me to reach out to people like I normally was doing. It was hard for artists to consultate and do the creative process with. It changed everything. I am looking at a gigantic screen right now. It makes me happy. My laptop is not so big. It was horrible. I didn't care for it. At first it was cool. Oh, I'm at home and I'm working. Then it kind of drained on me. Joel had the roughest time with it. Wouldn't you agree, Joel? With working from home?
Yeah, I wasn't the best work from homer. I often found myself up in my office working a lot just due to like I don't even know what to call it, like just creative block for myself. I find myself a lot more productive here than I am at home. And that's kind of like what the next part of this is about. That's kind of the hardships of working from home.
Now, going back to the project management system, it did help immensely because that was a constant. Write us a request for what you want, and again, that business went on as usual. That was a very positive for us. So if you're not using some sort of project management system like that, that's another sell to whoever you might have to sell this to, because it's kept everything constant. Yes, this was well, the left is a colleague of ours working from home, and that's me on the right with my French bulldog who usually walked on my computer. So yeah, how do you work with that face looking at you? I don't know. That's probably how Joel was at work. I'm guessing.
I mean,
go ahead.
more often than not, I did have pants on, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we don't know that for sure, and we really don't want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was our lives for a while. It still is to some. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. This is old. This is old Brady. Well, it's old and new. That doesn't look like Cindy Brady. I'm really old, so I know the originals and what they look like. But yeah. Distractions working from home that were for all of us. Kids, pets, technical issues. Our IT department had a mobile guy going around making sure everything worked. A lot of this is probably redundant, and you've heard it in other presentations, but an obstacle we had to overcome is we still needed to print things. A lot of it was COVID signs, warnings, that type of thing. So one of us, often it was me or Joel, we would come down and we'd have to print down here because it still physically had to be done. So that was a big obstacle. The project management system helped knowing, it's like, okay, I can access it at work and I can print it right from there, even though Gahe just finished completing it and it's set to go. So that helped, but we still had to come down here. Zoom overload, I think I beat that to death. So one of the big obstacles too was we were there for a while updating our website and social media about warnings and policy changes, important things, and they came down from the president's office, and that was there for a while. It was like sometimes it seemed like hourly we were changing things, so it increased the workload for Gahe and Joel, who both were doing the computer or the website updates. So the workload did increase in a lot of ways. Again, the importance of centralized data and resources, right, was so important for us there. We could access it. The people who needed access could access it at any time. Collaboration and adaptability. Again, we had to change our whole game there. We're trying to focus on reaching out, recruiting people to come to us, and this bigger wrench gets thrown in the way called COVID. Hard for us to do that. So we really had to step up our game, for lack of a better word, reaching out to people. If they had a question, hey, would we be able to do that? Yes, or no, we can't. taking the extra step, because it was probably through email or a phone call, to let them know what we could do. We had to change our whole game regarding that. One thing I have enjoyed out of this is I've been getting some or quite a few invites from other institutions, colleagues, peers from other universities, asking, how did you do this? This is how we did it. Safe to say I've learned way more from them than they did from me, and I appreciate it. Because nobody wrote a book on COVID and how to market and how to get communications out during a pandemic. I've been through a war and all kinds of horrible things, and it was the weirdest thing I'd been through and still am going through. So it was very helpful, and obviously organizations like Twakuho and Akuhoai and all that have helped that. And some people just reached out, emailed, and we would do Zoom meetings, and I learned a bunch, hopefully passed it on to everybody on the team, and it's been helpful. So if you want, remember I'm the guy in the back, the tall one. There's emails. Like I said, I just got done saying I like to collaborate with other universities. If you have questions, you want to do a Zoom meeting, I'm totally fine with that. Love it, as a matter of fact, because I will ask you more questions than you'll ask me. And same with Joel. And there's our contact information, and shoot us an email, and we can get your phone numbers too as well. This logo was actually one we designed for last year's move-in theme, and we're coming up with one this year. It worked out pretty good. If anybody have any questions, I love answering questions. Or is it Friday and everybody wants to go home?
I think everybody's hungry.
Everybody's hungry. Well, I got us out before noon, so that I'm happy with that. So,
Let me see. I'm not seeing anything popping up right now.
Okay, well, that's fine. I really appreciate everybody's time. I don't like doing Zoom and this type of stuff, so it was a little difficult. Looks like Evan's posted a survey there. Please fill out, and if you have comments, good and bad, love to hear them. And I really appreciate everybody's time.
All right. Thank you so much to our presenters. Thank you for having a great session. I think everyone greatly appreciated any of that. We'll let the questions come in if anyone has any last minute things, but we appreciate your experience. And then also I posted the link there for the evaluation we were just talking about. So please, everyone, either scan the code or click on the link. It should take you directly to the Google form to submit your feedback.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll keep this session broadcasting for another few minutes so everyone can find the link and click on that and such, and then we will stop the broadcast.